Ladies and gentlemen, there is a burning fire that lies dormant in every man and woman, a spark that, once ignited, can fuel dreams, forge destinies, and move mountains. That spark, my friends, is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is not just energy, it is the faith in motion. It is the gasoline of the soul. It transforms ordinary thought into unstoppable action. It is the invisible power that attracts opportunities like a magnet and inspires others to follow your lead even before you've succeeded. Let me tell you, no man ever achieved great success without first being consumed by a burning desire, and that desire, when backed by enthusiasm, becomes irresistible. Let's go deep into the 5 keynotes that define enthusiasm and how you can make it your greatest ally on the road to riches, not just financial, but mental, emotional, and spiritual wealth. Before we dive into the power that can change your life, I have one simple request. If you find value in the truths being shared, if you believe in the power of growth, success, and unstoppable, will then do this. Like this message, subscribe for more, ring the bell to stay aligned with success, and share it with someone whose spirit is ready to rise. Because success, my friends, is never a solo journey. It is a mastermind movement. And every time you share this message, you don't just lift yourself, you raise the vibration of everyone around you. Now, let's begin. Fire desire, my friends, is the starting point of all achievement. It is the blueprint of your future, the silent architect of your destiny. But let me be clear, desire alone is not enough. Desire, when left dormant, fades. It cools. It becomes no more than a passing wish or idle dream. The bridge between wanting and having, between vision and reality, is enthusiasm, that fiery emotion that breathes life into every goal. Enthusiasm is the soul, the spirit, the heartbeat of true desire. It is what separates the man who merely wants from the man who will not be denied. It is the emotional dynamo that turns a wish into a white-hot obsession. When you are truly enthusiastic about your desire, when your whole being pulses with it, something extraordinary happens. Your mind becomes magnetized, your energy becomes contagious, your actions become persistent and powerful. Let a man or woman become truly enthusiastic about a goal, and that goal begins to pull them forward like a force of gravity. Time no longer feels like a burden. Challenges no longer feel like threats. Enthusiasm makes the work enjoyable, the pain tolerable, and the process meaningful. It replaces hesitation with boldness and fear with faith. Have you ever met someone who was so consumed by a vision, so lit up from within, that you felt it the moment they entered the room? That is the power of enthusiasm. It moves people, it bends circumstances, it wakes up the universe and demands results. It is, in every way, the soul of a burning desire without which success remains a distant echo, never a reality. To achieve anything of greatness, you must feel it first. You must see it, breathe it, live it in your imagination so vividly that it spills over into your words, your body, and your decisions. Enthusiasm is the flame that keeps your desire alive through the cold nights of doubt and the storms of failure. Without it, desire dies in silence. With it, desire roars into action and becomes unstoppable. So, fan your flames daily, speak your goals with conviction, act with passion, and above all, protect your enthusiasm like a sacred fire, because it is the soul of all that you seek to become. There is a force in the world more powerful than logic, more persuasive than reason, and more inspiring than instruction. That force is enthusiasm, and when it is genuine, when it comes not from the lips, but from the heart, it spreads like wildfire. You see, enthusiasm is not something you say, it's something you radiate. It's in the tone of your voice, the fire in your eyes, the certainty in your step. People may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And when you speak or act with true enthusiasm, you ignite something in others, something ancient, something sleeping, the desire to believe, to act, and to rise. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need wealth, fame, or influence. All you need is an infectious enthusiasm for what you believe in. That alone has the power to change minds, open doors, and rally others to your cause. Every great movement in history began not with a committee, but with a single soul ablaze with conviction, a man or woman so filled with purpose that their spirit could not help but awaken the spirits of others. Think of it, a dull salesman can have the finest product in the world and fail to sell it, but a man with average tools and a voice filled with belief can move mountains, inspire crowds, and close deals with nothing more than the energy he projects. Why? Because people don't just buy products, they buy confidence, passion, and faith. They are drawn to life, and enthusiasm is life in motion. It doesn't matter what your dream is: building a business, writing a book, leading a team, healing the sick, or inspiring change. If you want others to follow, to support, to invest in you, then your first job is to infect them with your enthusiasm. You must feel it so deeply that it spills over into every word, every action, every choice you make. People will believe in you only as much as you believe in yourself, and enthusiasm is how you show that belief. And the most beautiful truth: enthusiasm doesn't diminish when shared, it multiplies. The more you give, the more it grows. A single spark can light 1,000 candles without losing its flame. So let your enthusiasm light others. Let your spirit be so alive, so committed, so energized, that others cannot help but want to be a part of your vision. Because when enthusiasm spreads, it creates momentum, and momentum, once set in motion by passion and purpose, becomes a force that no obstacle can resist. There are two kinds of effort in this world. One is mechanical, forced and draining, the kind that grinds slowly through each hour like a machine wearing down its gears. The other is alive, joyful, electric, the kind that flows from a source deep within and seems to make time disappear. The difference between the two is not talent, not training, not even discipline. The difference is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the invisible multiplier. It takes the same hour, the same task, the same conditions, and it amplifies everything. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once seemed impossible becomes a challenge you're eager to face. When you work with enthusiasm, you're not just using your hands or your mind, you're throwing your whole soul into the task. And when you do that, something magical happens. Effort becomes effortless, and the results far exceed the energy spent. A man who labors with reluctance may spend 10 hours to accomplish what a man with enthusiasm can achieve in 2. Why? Because enthusiasm unlocks creativity, it sharpens focus, it attracts resources and opportunities, it pushes past fatigue and replaces it with drive. It is not time that determines your success, it is the quality of energy you bring into that time. And enthusiasm raises that quality to its highest level. Most people drag themselves through life doing only what they have to do. The enthusiastic person does more than required, not because he must, but because he wants to. He sees purpose in his labor, and purpose transforms work into worship. This is why the enthusiastic soul finds success sooner, not because the path was easier, but because he walked it with passion, with speed, and with a light in his eyes. Look at any great creator, innovator, or leader in history, and you will see a person who was tireless not because they had more strength, but because they had more enthusiasm. They burned with an inner fire for their mission. They rose early, worked late, faced failure, and smiled through adversity because they weren't working against the grain of life. They were pulled forward by a sense of divine purpose, carried on the wings of their own excitement. And so I tell you, do not merely work, do not simply go through the motions, Pour yourself into what you do. Let your heart beat through your hands. Let your spirit guide your schedule. Enthusiasm does not add to your effort, it multiplies it. It gives back more than you put in. It turns ordinary hours into productive powerhouses. So if you want to outwork, outlast, and outperform others, you don't need more hours in the day. You need more fire in your spirit. Light that fire, and you'll find that your effort becomes unstoppable. Persistence is the master key to all achievement. It is the iron quality that separates the wishful thinker from the doer, the dreamer from the conqueror. But let's speak the truth plainly. Persistence is not easy. It demands stamina. It demands faith in the face of failure. And it demands the ability to keep moving forward long after the world has told you to stop. So where does that power come from? What is it that fuels the man who keeps going when others give up? What keeps the woman pressing on when the doors close, when the path vanishes, when the applause fades? The answer is simple and profound: enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the emotional fuel that keeps persistence alive. It is the warmth that keeps your desire from growing cold. It is the inner voice that says, "Just one more try," when logic says to quit. Without enthusiasm, persistence becomes painful, mechanical, a slow crawl through mud. But with enthusiasm, persistence becomes a game, a challenge, even a joy. A man who is enthusiastic about his purpose will rise again and again, no matter how many times he is knocked down. Failure does not define him, it sharpens him. Rejection does not break him, it fires him up. He meets each setback not with despair, but with the attitude of, "This too shall serve me. This is part of the climb." And here lies a truth that few recognize. You cannot be truly persistent about something you do not love. You will never fight hard enough, long enough, for something that doesn't move your soul. That's why enthusiasm is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the binding agent between purpose and perseverance. When the nights grow long and the results seem far away, enthusiasm will whisper to you, "You're closer than you think." When others say, "It's impossible," enthusiasm will shout back, "Watch me." It turns frustration into fascination. It transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It builds emotional immunity against defeat. Enthusiasm breathes life into repetition. It gives new energy to old efforts. It keeps the fire burning when there is no evidence that it will ever pay off, and then, as if by magic, it does. The breakthrough comes not because you were the smartest, the strongest, or the best connected, but because you were the one who wouldn't stop, and the only reason you didn't stop was because you still believed. And belief, powered by enthusiasm, is the force that moves the world. So remember this: persistence without enthusiasm is drudgery, but persistence fueled by enthusiasm is invincible. It doesn't just survive adversity, it thrives in it. It doesn't ask for guarantees, it creates them. Be that person, the one who keeps climbing when the path disappears, the one who smiles in the storm because the fire inside is brighter than the darkness around. That fire is enthusiasm, and it is the heartbeat of unshakable persistence. There exists a power in this universe far greater than any individual, more vast than all libraries, more precise than any scientific instrument, and more creative than the human mind alone. It is the source of all invention, the origin of every breakthrough, and the silent partner in all true success. This power, which cannot be seen with the eye but can be felt in the soul, is what we call infinite intelligence. Now you may ask, how does one tap into such a force? How does a mere human being reach into the invisible and bring forth ideas, insights, and solutions that defy logic and reason? The key is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is not just energy, it is a signal, a spiritual frequency that aligns your conscious mind with the deeper, unseen forces of creation. When you move with enthusiasm, when you think, speak, and act with passion and conviction, you are not only stirring your own spirit, you are awakening something higher. You are saying to infinite intelligence, I am ready, I am open, I am serious. In moments of deep enthusiasm, the mind becomes quiet and receptive. Ideas flow where once there was only confusion. People appear with answers. Circumstances shift. The puzzle pieces start to come together, not by force but by alignment. That's not coincidence, that is infinite intelligence responding to your emotional vibration. Because make no mistake, emotion is the language of the universe, and enthusiasm is one of its purest dialects. It carries the clarity of intent, the depth of belief, and the strength of purpose. It says to the higher realms, this person is not dabbling, this person is committed, this person is creating with purpose. And to such a person, infinite intelligence opens its vaults. Think of the great inventors, the composers, the visionaries, how often they speak of ideas that came to them. In a flash, whole and complete. That is not simply talent. That is not mere luck. That is the result of long, focused desire, ignited by enthusiasm, which tuned their minds to receive a higher signal. This is not fantasy, this is law. The human mind, when vibrating at a high emotional frequency like enthusiasm, becomes like a radio tower, transmitting desire and receiving guidance. But when the signal is weak, when there is doubt, boredom, or fear, the channel is blocked. No answers come, no clarity arrives. You remain trapped in logic, disconnected from the greater mind. But enthusiasm breaks that barrier. It elevates you. It clears the fog. It connects your deepest desire with the power that makes universes spin and empires rise. So, do not underestimate what happens when you pursue your goals with enthusiasm. You are not just working harder, you are partnering with the divine. You are unlocking wisdom that no textbook can teach, no professor can give, no strategy can replace. You are no longer creating alone, you are being guided, supported, and fueled by the greatest intelligence there is. And when you move in alignment with infinite intelligence, no obstacle can stand in your way. No door can stay shut. No dream is too bold. Because enthusiasm is the proof of your belief, and belief, when charged with emotion, becomes a creative force that reshapes reality itself. If you want to climb to heights you've never seen, build a life you've never lived, or become a person you've only dreamed of, you must start with enthusiasm. Cultivate it, guard it. Let it infect every thought, every word, every action. Because the man with enthusiasm cannot be stopped. He cannot be ignored. He will not be denied. Now go forth and let your enthusiasm light up the world. Thank you.